The Chawinga sisters, they really stole the Super Falcons of Nigeria in the opening fixture of the WAFCON 2026. It's a very surprising result coming from the Super Falcons if you look at it very well because the number one in Africa going head to head with one of the lowly ranked teams in Africa, and the result turned out to be what it was in a historic upset. And the big problem now is that the Super Falcons stand the chance not to qualify for the World Cup for the very first time since China 1991. And I'll be discussing this very important topic with a veteran journalist, Chiwendo. Chiwendo, welcome to this one. Malawi produced one of the biggest shocks in the Total Energies CAF Women's African Cup of Nations, in the history by beating record champions, 10-time champions, Nigeria 3-2 in the Group C opener on Tuesday night. In fact, the Scorchers scorched the Falcons. I wouldn't because there are a lot of dynamics and tongues are wagging. I call them tongues wagging because one thing about football is that when the tactics are right, everybody's happy. Or let's say when results go your way, everybody's happy. Once it doesn't go your way, people are talking. What do you think went wrong for the Falcons against the Scorchers?
I think what went wrong first was the formation. I mean, we always talk about the fact that
Just list all the things that went wrong, then you can now touch them.
no, number
Because,
one is the formation.
because now I see you're about to blame the coach now.
Of course, definitely, I will blame the coach because I mean the Super Falcon had a very quality side. They have quality players who are doing well for their club side, and then when you come to play a game, I mean, if you look at the team that played against Nigeria, you will know that they heavily depended on just two players. I mean, the Malawi, they heavily depended on two players, and that's the Chawinga's sisters. They depended on them, and those two ladies really they came to the party, and they were, of course, on the score sheet with both of them. But Nigeria have all it takes to have won that game. Why I say it is the tactics was the problem. Number one is when you play players out of position. We could see that in the defense we had issues, in the midfield we have issues, and then in the attack we have issues. I was talking to you off camera and I was saying that a coach who understands the dynamics of game knows play position a position a player will play and play well. Sometimes the player can be playing another position in his club side, and then when it comes to the national team, they play them different position. I mean, I'll give you instance of Mikel Obi. When he was playing for Chelsea, he was playing as a defensive midfielder. But when it comes to the national team, he plays as a creative midfielder. Is he playing that position? Was he not doing well in that position? He does so well as a creative midfielder because that's the Mikel we used to know. But when he played for Mourinho converted him to play as a defensive midfielder. Did he play that position well? Yes, he did. He played that position well. That's to tell you when a manager who understands the dynamics of game, who understand tactics, he knows where and where to use the player. You could tell that in that game in the defense, Oladepo, our wing back, Oladepo and Michel Alozie, these were not their natural position. As a matter of fact, Michel Alozie plays as an attacker in our club side. Then when she comes to Nigeria, most times in different occasions, they put her to play the right back. Sometimes, not all the time. But under Randy Redrow, he made sure Michel Alozie permanently plays the right back. And as she's been doing well, she has been fantastic. Oladepo, for our club side, she is not a right back. You don't use her as a right back, you use her as a central defender. And then you are converting her to play the right back. That is not supposed to be. So when you are playing a tournament as the WAFCON, you must be tactically sound. Because that game, all the players in that game were good, but they were played out of position. I mean, you could see that Ajibade, who we know for PSG, she plays as a winger. And we have known that she struggled in 2024 WAFCON. Yes, we won it, but she struggled. And you are still making the same mistake, putting her as a midfielder, we know that she didn't do well. The moment she moved into the attack, we now saw differences. I mean, these are the mistakes. Yes, we know that Esther Okoronkwo plays for as a central nine for our club in Toronto, but we have seen that it has worked when she plays as a supporting striker. That is what a coach who understands tactics would have done. Because I see nothing the Malawians played in that game. I see nothing. Nigeria was more dominating in that game. But the Malawians, they saw the opportunity, they saw the loopholes, and they converted it. And that's what win you games.
Okay, win you games when you see those opportunities and you take it. And I think that's what the Scorchers did. And he said tactics was the major problem, pointing a very, very strong accusing finger on coach Madugu. But now, we'll see what happened. Our next stop on Saturday will be against Zambia in a swim or sink match where we must get at least a point to start thinking. And the best result will be a win to start.
A draw is dangerous.
Yeah, it could be dangerous. You never can tell.
But draw is dangerous.
It's football. But we humiliated Zambia in the last WAFCON just a year ago. And I feel like they know that in the back of their mind. They've improved. We saw Barbara Banda, scoring four goals in that first game against Egypt, and we know what she can do as a player. What do you think? What's your suggestion? If you have Madugu in this room and you want to talk to him about what you think would work to help him beat Zambia and of course prepare him even further to take on Egypt, what would your advice be?
Number one, the Zambia team, under Nora Otley, there's a formation tactically. I see the coach doing with the Zambia team. By the way, I'm a lover of a female coach handling the female team. So anytime I always have special interest in managers, female managers. I want to know what they are doing. I want to read their games, and you could see that under Nora Otley, there's a difference. I'm looking at number one. They've gotten their first choice goalkeeper, Nali. Is in that team, and we know what she brings into that team. She's a very good goalkeeper. In the defense, we have Mawemba. You cannot take it away. Very experienced defender. So for me, what is going for them is they have a good goalkeeper, they have a good defensive central defender. Mawemba is very sound. And then in the midfield, we have Chanda. That is the only player I feel knows how to boss the midfield. She's very physical, she's very tactical. And then when you go forward, we have Baba Branda and Kobinanji. These are just the two players. If I were to count, I'll say these five players are what makes the Zambia team look this colorful and beautiful to watch. Then when you come to the Super Falcons of Nigeria, we have a lot of players that when you see them play for their club side, you are always proud to say this is a Super Falcons
the national team.
Of course, in the national team, 10 times. It's not an easy one. But like I said, what will win that game tactically, not about physicality now, because you cannot play that physical football with the Zambian team because they are very physical. Yes, the Super Falcons are physical, but the Super Falcons are playing European standard football because most of their players are playing in South America, they're playing in Europe. So they are blending and playing European football. So tactically they are sound. But now the problem is our coach tactically sound to use them play tactical football. That's it. Because if you're talking about physical football, you can't take it away from the Zambian team. Most of their players are playing in African football, and you know that what African football brings, in quotes, because it's evolving, it's developing. But in quote, you cannot take it away. Physical football is the main thing African football brings. So when you now blend it with tactical and technicality, that is what now differentiates us. So if you are talking about physical football, I will not advise the Super Falcons to play physical football with Zambia because we cannot match them physically. Now, that is out of the table. Now, I mentioned the players that we should look out for in this game. And I feel we have the players who can do the job. Our midfield in our game against Malawi was the problem. Because if you have used the right players who can supply the attackers, because attackers cannot do anything when the midfield is porous. There's nothing they can do. And then the defensive midfield, for me, I feel Ainde is a good defensive midfielder. But at this point, we should bring in Deborah. She's more younger and she's more pacey, and then she's more physical. You see these things is what will stop Braba Branda, will stop Kondonaji from the wings. They should not make the mistake of playing Alozie in the right left back, because that's the place Kondonaji operate from. And I can tell you for free, Alozie does not have that speed anymore, because she's not coming back from injury. So you can't bank on her on that position. Put her in her right position, because we know the kind of crosses she gives. That's her strength. And then one time she comes back to defense. That's okay. We all see that sometimes Osinachi Ohale covers for her, which is the best for now. So you put in a natural defender who has space, who can hold down Kondonaji. But if you are using Alozie to play against a Kondonaji, I mean, that is going to be a very, very big problem for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. So I feel that the coach should now go back, look at all the mistakes that they made against Malawi, and now correct them, and we get a good result.
Okay, correct mistakes against Malawi, and a good result will emerge. Let's say your first 11 for the game against Zambia.
Well, I cannot really say, because I mean, I'm looking at the players on ground. No, Chiamaka Nnadozie deserves to be there. She's the best goalkeeper in Africa. Okay. As a matter of fact, we are talking about top best goalkeeper in the world. She's there.
And the centre back?
In the centre back, I will say Osinachi Ohale should sit on the bench. Oladipo and Damiye should handle the central position.
Yes. Of course,
and
to
then
get in there.
And then we have
left
back. If you cannot trust Umora is injured, we pray that she's back before this time. Then you should use your Gloria Obonna, because yes, she's a natural left footer, but I mean, if they could trust her enough, and then please allow Michi Alozie to play her right back position. In the midfield, I was saying that they should bring in a Deborah, Deborah to play the defensive role, and then we have Tony Payne, Echegini, and Esther Okoronko to mount that for midfield. Yes. The attack, just keep Uche Nakanu and Ajibade should not start. Uche Nakanu, is either Uche Nakanu start, Hiozo start, or Aziza Toshola. That's it for the attack. Ajibade should sit on the bench.
So who are your two strikers?
Uche Nakanu, and either use Aziza Toshola. Physically, and she's okay. Or you start Chiwendu. Yezu, she's good.
Okay, no place for Esther Okonkwo.
Esther Okonkwo is playing in the midfield.
Okay,
I say Echegini, Tony Payne,
Esther Okonkwo,
Tony Payne, Deborah, and do the midfield.
Okay, at what point are you going to introduce Ajibade?
In the second half, you can now take away Echegini, bring in Ajibade. Then you change the formation in the second half to a 4-3-3.
By then you must have been leaving 4-0. Okay, I see you taking up some coaching courses sometime in the future. Don't forget that the program is sponsored by our friends at Mike Seabed. It's still www.mikesebed.ng on this one. So you can also as well go look at stuff. Good odds. I think the Super Falcons will come out with good odds, especially now that they lost the opening game against Malawi. I feel like all eyes on the Eagles, all eyes on the Falcons, I mean to say, and these things are just there. But one thing I love about the game is that we forget so soon. I feel like that's the craziest part of the round leather game. When the going is good, we all want to know. Who's talking about the coach?
I've always talked about the coach. Even when we won the 2024 the 13th edition, when we won the Nations Cup, I talked about the coach. I knew. You see what is happening to Liverpool and his slot. How he won the league in his first season is the same thing that happened to Malawi. He's using Randy Wendrop team, and now this is the first time we are seeing him use his own tactics, and this is what is happening.
The first time his tactics and it's happening, and I will see what happens if they fail to fly the Falcons against Zambia. Then that should be a goodbye to the World Cup ticket, and that will be the very first time in world history that the Nigerian side is failing both male and female to be at the World Cup. It's the first time the Falcons are missing out in the World Cup, and that should remind us that African football is growing, because I feel like that
Yeah.
fact should be touched.
True.
A lot of accolades and kudos we are not giving to this Malawi side. The
True.
Scorchers
True.
really showed potential. I mean, play against the side that have won the tournament for 10 times,
Yes.
and you go in and put up such a fight. You
This
score
is kind of
goals,
thing
see
we want to
them
see
come
them
back.
at the World Cup. We want to see them at the World Cup.
Exactly. So I feel like the days when it's all Falcons,
It's over.
it's gradually.
It's not gradually, it's over.
And that's what happened in the men's game also. You know, Nigeria, there was a
In
time,
the youth level.
and we are feding on the. We are
Not
top 10.
there was never a time
There was
we
a
were
time we were top 10 in the world. There was a time we were
Yes,
top 10
of
in
course.
the world.
But we're talking about youth level.
No,
we were
There was
just
a time we were
dominating.
champions
but
in
we are
the
no longer
Olympics.
there.
We got an Olympic gold in football,
Mhm.
and the world were involved.
Mhm.
So we must always highlight. So what I'm saying is that something must be done to curb the deteriorating state of our football. Something must be done. And I feel like it's when we get it right, from the football managers, the hierarchy down to the players and management and all. We must also point out that Madugu is not entirely the problem, like you've pointed out. We must also highlight poor preparation. When you fail to prepare, feeling like I'm the boss in the WAFCON, that's what will happen. You need games, and the quality games. Who you're going to play against? I saw teams out of Africa shy away from playing against the girls. Why can't we get games against the rest of the world, Europe, South America, and the rest of it? So I feel like this is our only team that is making us proud football-wise. It was a record. So giving them the biggest support is not bad. If that's the only place we do well in football, let's skip it. So I feel like the football management needs to sit up. I'm still a believer that they can go all the way in this tournament. I think I prefer when you don't start well in the tournament. It gives you that reality check. And if you're able to get it right, two things will happen. You need to go back to your drawing board. If you get it right, then you win the tournament. It happened to Argentina. That was during the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. They lost to Saudi Arabia. And I think we can also remember what happened in the last WAFCON.
2018.
No, even the last one when we drew our first game. We always slow starters to tournament. Of course. So I feel like these issues must also be touched. Don't forget that our friends at MaxBet are very well behind us. If we leave this topic, we can go on and on again. So see what happens when the Falcons go head to head against this very, very strong, stubborn Zambian side. And it's a must-win game, just like you heard you when they say, if they fail to win, then we might be in danger. A draw might not be enough. So the best result is to try and get that result and finish up the work up against Egypt. But I think the dynamics will keep turning. The big Falcons will fly. I have to believe. Thank you very much, George, for being a part of this one. I'll see you when we talk about what the outcome
Against Zambia.
is against Zambia. Thank you. Adios.